The gaming industry for the past 40 years has honestly been pretty stagnant. I know things have definitely changed, like you have to be always online or have to have battle passes, season passes, free-to-play games, microtransactions, and finding every possible way of these companies to get into your wallet while also increasing the cost of video games. But the actual idea of how to play video games has basically stayed the same. You go out, you buy the console the company is selling to you, and then you're also sold the exclusive games that company either made or they had a third-party contract with a publisher and a developer to have those games only on that platform, creating some unique value proposition. But what if I told you that there are two specific companies in the gaming space right now that are going to turn the entire gaming industry on its head, and by doing so, basically completely remove all forms of competition, but also fight each other tooth and nail for your time, your money, and even your data. And the funnier part about all of this is that these two companies don't even care about anybody else in the gaming space right now. They only care about each other, because the only thing that really matters right now isn't going to be how many console sales a company makes, but how many users are part of that platform. And those two companies that are going to be fighting for every single piece of your attention, your time, your dollar, and even your gaming space are going to be Microsoft and Valve. You see, Microsoft themselves have been making a lot of strides and changes throughout the past few years, especially in the early 2020s, going around and putting most of their titles onto competing platforms and working with other companies like PlayStation and Nintendo to put their games on there as well, going effectively full third party, as people like to say, and claiming that Xbox is in fact a dead brand, even though we've seen so many people go out and buy tons of Xbox games simply because they exist. Everybody wants to buy the game, but nobody wants to buy the box, and that's exactly what Microsoft has been seeing. Ever since Microsoft put out their Anything is an Xbox campaign, people were incredibly confused about it, not understanding why Xbox would do this. Console sales, people would cry. That's the most important thing, apparently. But the thing is, though, Microsoft is going in the opposite direction. It's not about console sales, but about platform users and the amount of money, time, and energy spent on that given platform by that specific user. In fact, it turns out that Microsoft has been working with AMD and also their own internal teams to make Windows the best place to play, even though we've clearly seen that Windows has its own issues, but that's for another time. They're doing everything they possibly can to turn around and make that specific platform the de facto place to play, regardless of how you actually use the hardware specifically. And also, with their massive investment into AI, there are in fact other avenues for them to use that platform to go ahead and either collect data from you, sell games to you, and even force you into their own specific ecosystem, thereby controlling how you play games, and then by the same time increasing the cost of those services while also limiting the amount of hardware you can get. The problem, though, is the one person in their way is not PlayStation, is not Nintendo. It is, in fact, Valve and Steam, because it looks like these two juggernauts are going to be the ones competing for your time and even for your money. And things are going to get incredibly weird, especially with what we found out yesterday, according to Insider Gaming. Insider Gaming tweeted this out yesterday. The next Xbox will reportedly feature full-bore windows. Seeing the next Xbox console have full-bore windows is a massive change from what we normally see in the gaming space. People have moved to console simply because they feel that PC is too complicated and they don't want to build it or deal with drivers, even though you have to make massive updates onto your console as well, and at the same time have massive performance issues on top of that too, with things like PSSR and everything else along the way. The problem, though, is people really don't understand what's in fact happening. And I think the real catalyst for what Microsoft is trying to do was in fact because of this. The Xbox Asus ROG Ally X, or whatever the hell you want to call this thing. The naming totally sucks. The device is pretty good, but I still wouldn't pay $1,000 for this thing. You see, everybody who reviewed this device didn't understand what in fact Microsoft was trying to do. They said that it wasn't an Xbox because it didn't play Xbox console games. It played PC games. And clearly people were in fact incredibly confused as to who that device was for. What they didn't realize, though, is that this device is not sitting here trying to be a console. It's the exact blueprint of what Microsoft is trying to do with their next Xbox, and effectively try to take a massive chunk out of what Steam has done for the PC market. But the thing is, though, there's more to this story, So we'll check the article and go from there. A new report by Windows Central provides a lot of details on what to expect from Xbox in 2026, revealing exciting details about the upcoming console. The report shows that the plan to run, quote, full-bore Windows on the next Xbox console has remained the same, thanks to their partnership with AMD. This console's interface will be delivered through the full-screen experience in the Xbox PC app, and Microsoft is hard at work to make the app capable of executing it. The report says that the main difference between the next Xbox console and a traditional PC is the ability to run Xbox One and Series X and S games, allowing players to bring forward their existing libraries to the next-gen console. The Xbox president has also confirmed that the next console will be backwards compatible and will be enhanced with AI. The report also discusses credible rumors about an OEM Xbox PC in 2026. However, players are asked to treat this information with caution until it is properly verified. We are witnessing right now a massive historical precedent in the gaming industry. We've talked about the ramifications of what AI is doing to the hardware space, where things like RAM, SSDs, and even GPUs are increasing in price exponentially. It's becoming more difficult to in fact go through and buy components to make a PC on your own until this bubble inevitably bursts. The problem, though, is Microsoft themselves are also responsible for this massive price hike in components, seeing as how they also run the Copilot AI program thanks to Satya Nadella, who's in fact told people that he has tons of server racks full of just cold GPUs unable to be plugged in because of the infrastructure currently right now in the planet. So if Microsoft sits here and says, hey, everything you own is an Xbox, then in reality what they're looking at is not talking about console sales specifically, but what they're talking about are platform monthly active users. Massive amounts of recurring revenue coming back into Microsoft and Xbox simply by you signing up to their service, playing games on your phone, playing games on your Asus ROG Ally device, or even playing them on your PC and the next Xbox console. Having the next Xbox system completely with full-bore Windows means a few things specifically. Number one, it's going to incorporate Copilot AI, thereby increasing the numbers on Satya Nadella's space in the first place, seeing as how he's the one responsible for AI right now. At the same time, what you're seeing is Microsoft completely destroy the barriers of what's been happening in the gaming space, removing the ability for other companies to have things like exclusivity. If the rumors are true and full-bore Windows is available on the next Xbox console, that means a few things specifically. Number one, you can basically get every single experience you have right now on the PC in terms of a console form factor and even ideal, meaning you're going to be having dedicated drivers for that device, dedicated updates for that device, and also being able to install any storefront on that device, not just having the Xbox PC app as the main experience. The thing is, though, this does come with problems and even some caveats as well. You see, Sarah Bond is also the same person responsible for backwards compatibility and even forwards compatibility in the entire gaming space at Microsoft and Xbox. They've clearly said they want your library to carry you forward with you, and they lost the worst generation to lose when they went ahead with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. People built their digital libraries across that gaming space. And the thing is, that makes customers and consumers incredibly sticky, and trying to pull them away from a digital library that someone has built is very difficult to do. So rather than actually go around and try to coerce people into their ecosystem, what Microsoft is basically saying is, why should we make them come to us when we can simply just go to them? But the thing is, though, the article continues by in fact saying this. Earlier last year, Corden had already stated that the next Xbox console would lean more towards a PC experience, stating, quote, a PC in essence, but with a TV-friendly shell that also has a specific set of specs in mind. Xbox President Sarah Bond has also stated that they are hard at work developing their next-generation hardware and that it will be a powerful experience. You see, that all sounds fine and dandy, right? A powerful experience, a PC in your living room, the ability to play any game from any storefront on this one platform. That sounds like a good idea. The problem, though, is it's Microsoft handling this on the back end. And honestly, sometimes, if not all the time, they basically just drop the ball continuously. You can bet your sweet bippy there's going to be massive amounts of AI being shoved into this console in the first place. And the UI of the gaming experience or the full screen experience on the ROG Ally X is definitely not up to par. So if the ability for Microsoft to go through and do this right for this next generation of consoles, it could prove a difficult task in the first place to really pin everything together and provide a good experience for the user. The thing is though, the piece that people really have to throw around against Xbox is there's no exclusives. Your games are on PlayStation. Well, it's not really going to matter when you're able to put basically every single game onto that one device, because it definitely has full bore Windows and it's treated more like a PC than an actual console itself. We've heard everything under the bus from fanboys saying things like PlayStation will block games on that piece of hardware, or PlayStation will never put their games day and date on PC, even though we're literally seeing those games go day and date to PC. PlayStation literally make an overlay for their games on PC as well, giving you trophy support while you're playing on PC, which, by the way, that's a Windows thing too. It doesn't run on Linux. And also get their games faster onto that other competing platform. So Microsoft, in essence, is not trying to go around and say, hey, you should play with us because we have these special games. They're trying to say, you should use our system and our software because we have every game. But you see, that's going to be a pretty big problem simply because Steam is also in that same ballpark as well. And Microsoft is not Steam. Because according to WCCF Tech saying, quote, the market is dominated by PC now. Releasing worldwide on Steam is essential. Danganronpa series creator highlights massive shift in video games industry. Speaking in a new interview with RPG site focused on his latest game, The 100-Line Last Defense Academy, Danganronpa series creator Kazutaka Kodaka was asked about the game's excellent PC port. His reply leaves no room for interpretation, saying, quote, the market is dominated by PC now, he said. Releasing worldwide on Steam is essential. While Kodaka-san didn't add more about the matter, his confirmation that the team is not considering a PlayStation 5 and Series X and S ports of The 100-Line Last Defense Academy makes it clear how much the market seems to be leaving traditional home consoles behind and shifting towards PC. And if you think a game like Danganronpa is not going to be big enough to even prove this kind of point, I want you to stop and take a listen to this. When you look at a game like Stellar Blade, where that game sold 19 times faster on Steam than any other platform that the game was released on. Think about that. The platform that everybody says nobody buys games on, Stellar Blade sold 19 times faster there than anywhere else. You can also look at a game like Black Myth Wukong, where it sold 25 million copies, and the majority, some saying up to 80% of those copies were also sold specifically on PC and even on Steam. We are talking about a massive global amount of users going through and using one specific platform like PC and Steam to play the majority of their games, stopping the entire idea of the fact that you can only put your games onto a specific console and that's the only way games are going to sell. Basically proving with just these two examples that PC gamers are in fact buying games more than ever before. And if you really want to take a look at it, you can see the top selling games on Steam right now. A consistent breadth and depth of games always stay up on that top sellers list. And if we take away the free-to-play games, you can see who the top games being sold are. Things like Arc Raiders, Fallout 76, Dead by Daylight, Battlefield 6, Path of Exile 2, Grand Theft Auto, Baldur's Gate 3. We're talking about games that completely either break the mold, go back to their roots, or even then provide the user and player with a far better experience overall. And that's just what we're currently seeing right now. That doesn't count into the all-time most sold games or even free-to-play games as well, which rake over tons of millions of dollars on a consistent basis. And this is where Microsoft is leaning into, and why they're claiming everything is in fact an Xbox, and why the next-gen console is going to have full-bore Windows. They're not going around trying to fight PlayStation. No, they're going around and trying to fight Valve, simply because they're looking at the amount of PC users that are spending money on Steam as well, and they want a cut of that action, because there's far more PC players on the planet than there are console users willing to buy a piece of plastic. And if you don't believe me, you got to see what Steam did just in December alone. According to Dexerto, Steam generated a record-breaking $1.6 billion in gross revenue in December, according to Alenia Insight. $200 more million than December 2020's pandemic-fueled high. According to data from Millennia Analytics, Steam generated $1.6 billion in gross revenue in December of 2025, marking the highest grossing month the platform has ever recorded. Over 100 million players are estimated to have contributed to Steam's December total, highlighting just how big holiday spending was across the platform. The spike lines up with Steam's annual winter sale, which coincidentally ranks as one of the biggest spending events in PC gaming. Deep discounts, DLC bundles, and long-running hits did much of the heavy lifting, with several major titles hitting their lowest prices ever. That's right, while Circana is telling every single person right now that this past November was one of the worst Novembers ever in the entire 30-plus year history of video games ever since November 1995, with basically Xbox being down 70%, PlayStation down being 40% in console sales, we are seeing everyone move towards the PC platform and looking for the one thing that they're not getting anywhere else: deals and sales. We're watching Microsoft and Xbox and PlayStation increase the price of their consoles and services consistently, year over year, quarter over quarter, and now with the RAM crisis, things could in fact be getting even worse. And this is exactly why you're seeing Xbox go ahead and try to turn around and make their next console a full-bore Windows machine. Not because they lost the console war, no, because they're looking at the amount of users that Steam has, which reached an all-time peak concurrent player count of just north of 41 million users. That's right, peak at one time, 41 million players were on Steam. Literally a massive amount of users on that specific platform. And Xbox is looking at that and going, hey, wait a minute. We could get everybody from PlayStation to buy our games, which they'll definitely do. We can get Windows users to stay onto Windows as well. And if we get a piece of those Steam players too, things could look even better for us as well. But things may not go, in fact, according to Microsoft and Xbox's plan, simply because SteamOS is getting to be far bigger and the actual blowback to what Windows is doing with Copilot has gotten even worse across the actual PC user base. Windows 10 is no longer supported by Microsoft, leaving a massive gap open for Linux users to move to things like Catchy or even Bazite, or dare I even say SteamOS itself. The Steam Deck, which I honestly love more than anything right now, where I play the majority of my games, if it doesn't run here, then basically I don't even play it. And I've got a 7900 XT and a 7700X CPU. I could basically play anything I want on my PC, but I'd rather just play things here. Is really helping people move into the Linux space as well, and learning more about how Linux operates and seeing how it doesn't have all those issues like AI and things like that. This could be a massive blow to what Microsoft is trying to pull if they don't put the customer and consumer first in this space to go through and make the experience right for them. Not by forcing AI, but by going through and making a good experience overall. And the thing is, though, it turns out that Microsoft's plan may also have another wrench thrown in as well, because other manufacturers who are also making other pieces of hardware are moving to SteamOS as the de facto operating system for their games too. According to Windows Central Gaming saying this, it's official, the Legion Go 2 is getting a SteamOS variant in June. And that's going to be a huge blow to Microsoft, seeing as how they want Windows to be the best place to play. SteamOS and Linux has their own drawbacks as well, with not offering support with things like anti-cheat and even TPM support in the BIOS as well, so certain games may not be available for that platform or even that operating system. If Microsoft can go through and really put things into perspective and provide the next generation of console with a good price, having full-bore Windows, things could really heat up in the gaming space as well. But the other wrench being thrown into this too is in fact the Steam Machine, and we don't even know the price of that device either, or when it's going to be coming out, and if it's going to release with Half-Life 3, which could also be a massive impact towards so many other consumers and customers looking to get a new device to play their games. What this does show is that the gaming industry is going to change dramatically and drastically, and we're not going to be sitting here looking at the old way of doing things anymore, where you're having to buy one specific piece of console just to play their specific kinds of games. You're going to be seeing Microsoft and Valve fight for actual control of where you play your games, and not just about the actual box where you play your games on, but the actual platform of where you play your games on. You can definitely see at this point where PlayStation and Nintendo could see this as a massive opportunity to either stay in their lanes and stick to that 100 million console users sold, but also at the same time put their games onto the PC platform either day and date or even after a specific amount of time. And don't talk about Nintendo not doing it, because clearly they're seeing everybody else be successful with it too, and everybody also said back in 2018 that God of War would never hit PC, yet here we are with an entire Steam store page dedicated to PlayStation. But this could be the huge change that the gaming industry is going to be going through, especially with the advent of AI, the next generations of consoles, and even then, what's going to be happening with the platform wars, no longer the console war. But I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments section down below. Would you rather get a Steam machine or the next Xbox? Have you decided to go around and try the Steam Deck or even the ROG Ally? I want to hear what you guys have to say. But with all that being said, if you want to see more of this kind of content, more gaming news, more hot takes in the gaming industry, more PC port reviews, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 104K, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just show up Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel, as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by 800 people with AITTS. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!